They float like ghosts, silently drifting beneath the surface. And we watch, mesmerized. In this place, time has its own rhythm, set by the rise and fall of the ocean, by the ebb of tides, and the slow dance of jellyfish, pulsing gently, almost as if they breathe. We dip our fingers into the water, breaking the stillness and feel its cool touch. When you lean over the edge to see them better, to get just a little closer, it's as though the world grows quieter, drawing everything in toward this one moment. You catch sight of the translucent bells, barely a shimmer against the water, yet there. It seems impossible that something so delicate could thrive, yet they do, each with trailing tentacles that flow like silk behind them, a quiet strength pulsing with every contraction. They glide in circles, their form so pale and soft that it feels like a dream watching them. They move together, a gentle current pulling them toward us, then letting them drift away, their forms turning over and over as though they were weightless, suspended by nothing more than a thought. We wonder if they know each other, if they feel anything beyond the pull of tides and instinct. But then again, maybe that's enough. You dip a hand in, just a bit deeper, wanting to touch but afraid of what might happen. Maybe it would sting, maybe it would startle them, maybe they'd just keep drifting on. It's hard to say with jellyfish. They are creatures of mystery, almost like they belong more to the water itself than to the world we know. In time, we start to notice the colors, just faint traces, barely there. Some have hints of blue or pink, like wisps of color brushed onto a canvas. Others are perfectly clear, so transparent that we can barely tell where water ends and they begin. And yet they are there, definite, present, moving through the ocean's invisible pathways. They might not be aware of us at all, but that doesn't matter. It's enough to be in their presence, to share the same water, the same world, if only for a little while. And you feel it too, a sense of connection, something unspoken, yet undeniably real. We breathe in the salty air and listen to the water lapping against the shore, and it feels as though we too are part of this silent dance. The world seems larger and smaller all at once, like a single drop in the ocean and the whole ocean all at once. They continue their dance, unbothered by us, unaffected by the passing of days, content with their simple, weightless existence. And we realize as the sun begins to sink and the colors deepen, that they are part of a world that will carry on long after we leave this place. The light softens as the sun dips lower, painting the sky in shades of orange and violet that bleed into the water, wrapping around each drifting shape. You feel it then, how the world feels almost sacred in its silence, as if everything we see now has always been here and always will be, whether or not we stay to witness it. We watch as a larger jellyfish glides closer, its bell slightly larger and more ornate, rimmed with feathery edges that sway like lace in the water. They drift around it, smaller and lighter, but somehow their movements fall into a natural rhythm, a quiet ballet in the ocean's embrace. The larger one pulses forward, and the others follow, all in slow motion, as though time itself has grown thick and heavy. You lean even closer, watching it all with a feeling that sits somewhere between wonder and a strange kind of longing. What must it be like, you wonder, to float without effort, to move through the water with no resistance, unthinking, unhurried? No need to rush, no direction but the currents that pull you along. They drift together, never colliding, never tangled, as though some invisible language guides them. We think about the complexities of our own lives, the countless decisions, the unending voices, the hurry that always pushes at our backs. Watching them, it's clear that none of those things matter here. Life here is simpler, more fluid, shaped by tides instead of clocks. As darkness begins to settle, the water changes, taking on a deep, shifting blue, and we see something we hadn't noticed before. Faint glimmers beneath the surface. Tiny specks of light dance around the jellyfish like stars caught in the waves. The creatures continue their slow dance, moving through what looks like a field of stars, each light blinking on and off as though responding to the movements of their bodies. They are the only light now, faint and ethereal, an underwater constellation. You're the first to reach down again, testing the surface as if to reassure yourself that you're still here, that this isn't some dream fading away. The water ripples around your hand, and the tiny lights swirl around your fingers, winking in and out of sight as though acknowledging your presence. We breathe in deeply, feeling the salt and the dampness of night settling over everything. We know it's almost time to leave, to return to the world above, with its lights and sounds, with all its weights and demands. But here, for this moment, it's just us and them. The jellyfish, the water, the faint lights that pulse softly in rhythm with our own breathing. They drift farther now, slowly moving away, as though carried by some secret signal. Their forms fading into shadows and shapes beneath the water's darkening surface. We watch them go, feeling a pang of something indescribable. It's not sadness exactly, nor is it happiness. It's something deeper, something rooted in a feeling we've almost forgotten, a longing for something that feels just beyond reach, something timeless. In the end, they vanish into the night, and all that's left is the gentle lap of the water and the memory of lights fading into the dark. We stand in silence, our feet rooted in the sand, listening to the ocean's quiet song and feeling for just a moment longer that we are part of something much larger, something ancient and unending, a rhythm that beats in all things, from the smallest jellyfish to the stars themselves. The night deepens around us and the air cools, carrying a dampness that settles into our skin. Yet we linger, as if leaving would break a spell that has held us here, connected to the water, to each other, and to whatever deeper mystery calls to us from beneath the surface. In the silence, you speak softly, almost as if afraid the night might hear. Do you think they know where they're going? We don't have an answer, but we imagine it with you, the idea that these creatures might have their own sense of purpose, or perhaps that their purpose lies in simply being, in drifting as they do, one with the waves, trusting in the currents that guide them. We think of our own lives, so tangled with destinations and deadlines, and wonder what it might be like to let go of all that, to be like them, trusting the world to carry us along, unafraid of where we might end up. They're out of sight now, just a memory in the water, yet we feel them still, an invisible presence that leaves its imprint on the shore. We look up and notice how the stars have filled the sky, mirroring the faint glow of the jellyfish below. You seem lost in thought, eyes fixed on the heavens, as though searching for something up there. Perhaps it's the same thing we felt earlier, that sensation of being part of something infinite. After a while, we turn back to the shore, our footsteps soft against the sand, but our minds still drifting. The ocean is alive behind us, waves lapping in a steady rhythm, and we feel as though it's calling to us, even as we walk away. Each step takes us farther from that world, back toward the lights and sounds of the shore. Yet part of us lingers there in spirit, carried along with the jellyfish on their endless journey. The path grows brighter as we near the boardwalk, the distant hum of life rising to greet us. But none of it feels as real as the silence we left behind. We glance back one last time, catching sight of the ocean as it stretches out into darkness, vast and timeless. As we reach the edge of the shore, you pause, turning to us with a thoughtful expression. "Maybe we'll come back tomorrow," you say, almost as a promise. And we nod, a quiet agreement that doesn't need words. We know we will return, because now there is something here that calls to us, something we've touched but barely understand. A feeling, an understanding, a presence that lives in the depths of that ocean, carried on the backs of jellyfish and whispered in the rhythm of the waves. When we finally leave, the memory of them stays with us, lingering like salt on our skin. A reminder of a world that moves to its own slow, timeless beat. And as we walk away, we carry that rhythm with us. A quiet, pulsing presence in our hearts, reminding us that, like the jellyfish, we too are part of something larger than ourselves. An ocean vast and unknowable, stretching out forever. The days go by, and we return again and again, drawn to the shoreline by an invisible thread. Each time it feels different. The colors of the water, the sound of the waves, the shape of the sky. Yet always we wait for the jellyfish, watching as the sun sets and the light fades, hoping for their silent appearance beneath the surface. Sometimes we spot them right away, a scattered collection of faintly glowing forms drifting close to the shore. Other nights we wait longer, until the stars are sharp and bright above, before they reveal themselves, floating up from the depths as though they've traveled from some distant realm. Each time it feels like a gift. You start to bring a small notebook with you, jotting down observations, questions, thoughts. "They move differently tonight," you'll say, or "there are more of them this time." The pages fill with sketches of their shapes, quick notes on the colors you see, or how their bodies change as they pass through patches of light and shadow. We can tell that you're looking for something, perhaps a pattern or an answer, or maybe just a sense of understanding that lies beyond words. We begin to talk about them as if they're part of our lives, as if they're old friends we've known forever. "Remember the big one from last week?" Or, "Do you think they've gone farther out tonight?" It's strange, this familiarity, but it feels right, as though our lives and theirs have intertwined in some quiet, meaningful way. One night, as we sit on the sand, the air thick and warm, you point out at the horizon, where a faint glow begins to rise. "Look," you whisper, "they're here." This time, there are more of them than we've ever seen before. A whole gathering of jellyfish moving together, like a galaxy forming beneath the water. They drift slowly, a luminous cluster that stretches out and flows, each one moving in perfect rhythm with the others, as though bound by a common thread. It's breathtaking, and for a while we just watch, too entranced to speak. There's a power in their presence tonight, something almost majestic, a quiet force that fills the air with a sense of awe. And as we sit there, it begins to dawn on us that what we're seeing isn't just a display of beauty. It's a gathering, a migration, something that feels purposeful and ancient, as if they're all moving toward something we can't see, something hidden deep in the water or far beyond. You break the silence, voice barely above a whisper. What if they're following something? The question lingers, settling into the space between us. And we realize that maybe they are, following a path or a signal we can't perceive, a rhythm that's woven into the very fabric of the ocean. Perhaps they know something we don't, something about the tides or the stars or the pull of the moon. Perhaps in some way, they're connected to the pulse of the world itself, moving with it as it carries them forward. We sit with that thought, feeling its weight, and in that moment, we realize something else. That we too are following something, some invisible force that has drawn us to this shore night after night, that has made us stay long after the others have left. It's a feeling that runs deeper than words, something ancient and unexplainable. A quiet understanding that the world is full of mysteries we may never solve. And that maybe, just maybe, that's enough. The night deepens, and they continue their journey, drifting farther out, their lights growing fainter as they move away from the shore. We watch until they're just faint glimmers in the distance, a cluster of stars in an endless sea. As we walk back, silence settles over us, not the kind that needs to be filled, but the kind that feels whole, complete. And though the world around us is unchanged, something within us feels different, as if we too have become part of that timeless rhythm, bound to the ocean, to each other, and to the silent drifting jellyfish that have led us here, to this place of wonder and peace. And in that silence, we know we'll keep coming back, not for answers, but simply to be here, part of this quiet mystery, following, as they do, whatever it is that calls to us from the depths. The nights we spend on the shore begin to blend together, forming a kind of ritual. We no longer speak much when we're here, as if we've learned that the language of silence fits this place better than words. Each night holds its own subtle magic, and the jellyfish have become our constant companions, teaching us their quiet lessons without ever acknowledging our presence. One evening, just as we settle into our usual place, something unusual happens. The water, calm and dark, starts to ripple more than it should in the gentle night air, and we catch glimpses of shapes moving just beneath the surface, larger, faster than jellyfish. For a moment, our hearts quicken, startled by this break in the familiar. Then, one by one, sleek, curved bodies rise from the water, cutting through the surface in graceful arcs. Dolphins. They glide up and down, flashing silver in the moonlight, seeming almost to play, though their movements are so controlled, so intentional. We watch, transfixed, as they move in tandem with each other, like dancers performing an old, practiced routine. The dolphins circle near the shore, passing right over where the jellyfish drift below, as if acknowledging their presence. They make no sound, yet the water churns faintly with each graceful leap and dive, stirring the quiet. You watch them with wide eyes, unable to look away. And it strikes us both how unusual it is to see dolphins this close, so late, moving with such ease through a world that feels untouched by human time. They seem to share something with the jellyfish, a sense of belonging here, a natural rhythm, as if they too are part of this deeper mystery we've come to revere. The dolphins move out a little farther, and as they do, the water below them begins to glow faintly, a soft blue-green light swirling around their bodies. Bioluminescence. We'd heard about it, but had never seen it quite like this. An entire section of the ocean alight with the glow of microscopic organisms coming to life in the wake of the dolphin's movement. You gasp, leaning forward, enchanted, and we're all caught in the sight. Dolphins surrounded by glowing water, moving through clouds of light that expand and then fade. The jellyfish too appear under this new light, their forms softly illuminated, each pulse echoing through the glowing water in perfect harmony with the dolphins. The ocean has become a canvas of light and shadow, of silent movement, a dance between creatures guided by an unspoken connection. For the first time, you whisper. It's like they know each other. It feels true. We can't explain it, but watching them, we sense an understanding between the dolphins and the jellyfish, a quiet acknowledgement as they move together through the water, sharing space in this magical, fleeting moment. And as we watch, something shifts within us. This world we've been coming back to each night, this ocean of mysteries, it's not just something we observe. We're part of it too, woven into the same fabric that holds the jellyfish, the dolphins, the glowing water. Just as they are, we are bound to this rhythm, this pulse that draws us here again and again. The dolphins finally begin to move away, their glowing trails fading as they head out to sea, leaving only the jellyfish behind, their gentle pulsing the final note in this symphony of light. We watch until even that light dims, until the water is dark and still again. When it's over, we sit in silence, feeling an indescribable fullness, a sense that we've glimpsed something eternal and sacred. As we get up to leave, you turn to us with a soft smile, one that speaks of wonder, of gratitude, of a deep, quiet joy. We're lucky to have seen that, you say. We nod, and in that moment, it feels like enough. We know that we'll return, not out of habit, but out of reverence, out of a deep understanding that something special lives here, something that connects us to each other, to the ocean, and to every creature that moves within it. And as we walk back along the shore, our footsteps light against the sand. We feel as though we too are part of that light, carrying a piece of this world with us, a quiet glow that will guide us even as we step back into the world above. The days begin to pass with a different weight, as if something has shifted in our ordinary lives, a small but steady pulse beating beneath the surface. We carry the nights at the shore with us wherever we go, moments of silence and mystery woven into our routines, the memory of the bioluminescent glow lingering like an after-image on our vision. When we speak about it, we find ourselves searching for words that don't exist, words that might capture that feeling of connection and wonder. And so, without speaking much about it, we return, night after night, becoming as much a part of the shoreline as the sand and the waves. The ocean welcomes us, a constant, unchanging presence, though each night it brings something new, a different shade in the sky, a cooler breeze, a longer, softer lull of waves. One evening, as we sit by the water, you pull out your notebook again, though this time, instead of sketches or notes, you write something longer. We sit beside you, feeling the cool sand beneath us, the ocean stretching out dark and vast before us, and watch as you fill the page, slowly and thoughtfully, your face calm in the fading light. When you're done, you set the notebook down, leaving it open, and we see a line, simple but haunting. The ocean keeps its secrets, but maybe it's also offering us its stories, if only we listen. We let that thought sit with us, feeling the truth in it. All this time we'd been observing, seeking to understand. But maybe it was time to do something else. Maybe it was time to let the ocean speak in its own way, to open ourselves fully to whatever it wished to show us. That night, we do something different. Instead of sitting on the shore, watching from a distance, we wade into the water. Just far enough that the waves lap at our legs, cool and gentle. It's a small step, but it feels monumental, as if we're finally crossing a boundary, stepping fully into this world that has been calling to us. The water is darker here, more alive, and as we stand there, letting it swirl around us, a quiet understanding fills the air. We are part of this place, part of its rhythm and its secrets, no longer just visitors. The ocean laps at our knees, soft and inviting, and in the stillness, we feel something shift within us, a deep calm that roots us to this moment, to each other, to the world around us. Then, as if sensing our presence, they come, the jellyfish, drifting closer than ever before. Their shapes faintly visible in the moonlight. We don't move, barely even breathe, and for a moment, it's as if they are moving toward us, acknowledging our presence, letting us in. Their bodies glow faintly in the darkness. We can see each delicate pulse, each gentle contraction, a rhythm that echoes our own heartbeat. And we understand. This place, this world, isn't something we can own or explain or even fully understand. It's something we can only experience, something we are invited into, if only we are willing to let go of our need to know, to name, to capture. You reach down, letting your fingers brush the water, and the faintest glow surrounds them, as if the ocean itself is responding, recognizing your touch. It's like being part of a quiet, ancient conversation, one that has been happening long before us and will continue long after. We feel ourselves soften, all the tensions and thoughts we carried here fading away, leaving only presence, only the moment. After a while, we step back, letting the water settle, and sit together in silence, the quiet of the ocean filling the spaces within us. There's nothing more to say, nothing more to understand. We've found what we came for. Not answers, but a sense of belonging, a connection that doesn't need words. As we leave that night, we look back, and in the distance we see them, our silent companions drifting out to sea, glowing faintly in the darkness, carrying with them whatever secrets the ocean holds. And we know, as we walk away, that we are leaving a part of ourselves behind, a part that will always belong to this shore, to the rhythm of the waves and the pulsing light beneath the water. And we understand, finally, that this is the story the ocean has been telling us all along, that to be part of this world is to be part of its mysteries, its unending dance, its silent, sacred beauty. And in that understanding, we feel whole. The ocean, with all its quiet power and mystery, has become our sanctuary, a place where words fall away and only presence matters. And though we keep returning, each night brings something new, a lesson, a feeling, an experience that lingers within us. One evening, as we settle onto the sand, we notice the air is heavier, thick with an energy that hums just below the surface. The horizon is tinged with a faint glow, as if some hidden light is pressing up from the depths. We sit in silence, drawn to this strange luminosity, feeling as though something extraordinary is about to happen. Then, without warning, a faint shimmer appears along the water's edge, spreading out in soft, undulating waves. The ocean itself seems to come alive, lighting up in pulses, and with each wave, the glow intensifies. The bioluminescence, which we've only seen in fleeting moments, now stretches out before us, illuminating the shore in shades of otherworldly blue and green. The light travels like a breath, expanding and contracting, moving through the water in a slow, steady rhythm. We wade into the shallows, our steps sending ripples of light out in every direction. It's as if the ocean is alive, responding to our touch, recognizing us as part of its world. And then they appear. The jellyfish, glowing with an almost sacred brightness, moving through the bioluminescence like spirits in a dream. They're closer than ever, surrounding us, pulsing softly in unison with the waves, each one trailing light like a comet's tail. We stand there, immersed in the glow, feeling as though we've entered a hidden world, a place that exists only in moments like this. In this strange, glowing world, everything feels connected. The jellyfish, the ocean, the light, and us. We're no longer observers, standing on the outside. We're part of the ocean's story now, bound to it by these moments of wonder, by the quiet presence of the jellyfish and the glow that surrounds us. You reach out, just a hand's width away from one of the jellyfish, careful not to touch, but close enough to feel its presence. Its bell pulses, lighting up with each gentle contraction. And for a fleeting moment, it feels as though it acknowledges you, as though it sees you. You draw in a breath, and we watch, captivated, as a jellyfish drifts away, fading back into the glowing water. The night stretches on, the ocean a canvas of light and motion, and we find ourselves moving with it, each step leaving trails of bioluminescent light that swirl and fade. Time slips away, and all that remains is the gentle pulse of the water, the silent glow of the jellyfish, and a feeling of absolute stillness, as if we are suspended within the very heart of the world. Eventually, as dawn begins to creep over the horizon, the glow fades, the bioluminescence retreating with the tide. The jellyfish drift away, carried by the early morning currents, until they're just shadows in the water, blending into the soft light of dawn. We stand there, watching them go, feeling an ache that is both joy and longing. As the first rays of sunlight warm our skin, we realize that we've been given something rare, a moment out of time, a glimpse into a world that exists beyond our everyday lives, a place where mystery and beauty are woven into the fabric of existence. And though the ocean looks calm and ordinary again in the daylight, we know that beneath the surface, that world still exists, pulsing with life and light, waiting for those who are willing to listen, to see, to be part of its quiet, endless story. We walk back together, our footprints tracing the sand, and in the silence, we feel the bond between us something deeper than words. It's a connection forged not just in friendship, but in shared wonder, in the knowledge that we have touched something infinite, something beyond ourselves. And as we leave the shore, we carry that light with us, a quiet reminder of the ocean's gift, a memory that will guide us back here, time and time again, to this place where the world opens up and whispers its secrets to those who are willing to listen. Life takes on a quiet glow after that night, as if the ocean's bioluminescence has somehow seeped into our daily lives, leaving traces of light in our thoughts and actions. We go through the motions of work, of errands, of conversations, but always in the back of our minds, we're drawn back to the shore, to the jellyfish, to that sacred silence. One evening, we decide to bring offerings, not of any grand importance, just small things that feel like tokens of our appreciation. We gather smooth stones from the river, bits of sea glass that we've found over the years, a few wildflowers still fragrant with the afternoon sun. These are objects that feel timeless, as if they too belong to the mystery of the world around us. As the sun dips low, casting its final light across the ocean, we walk to the water's edge and place our offerings gently on the sand. We don't know if the ocean will notice, or if it even matters, but it feels right. A quiet gesture, a way of saying thank you, of honoring the moments it has given us. You place a stone in the shallow water, watching as the waves wash over it, carrying it forward and then back, the water smoothing its surface with each pass. Another small stone follows, and another, until there's a small collection of them, arranged in a simple, silent pattern, like a constellation forming beneath the waves. The tide rolls in, gentle and steady, and with it, the ocean accepts our offerings, slowly covering them with sand and salt. It feels like a kind of communion, a mutual acknowledgement between us and the sea, as though we've become part of its story, our small lives woven into the vast, timeless fabric of water and light. And then, almost as if responding to our gesture, they come again, the jellyfish, emerging from the darkening water. This time they're closer, moving toward us as if drawn by some silent call, their bodies glowing faintly in the twilight. The ocean, calm and steady, reflects their soft light, creating a mirror of stars above and below. We wade into the shallows, our feet sinking into the sand, and feel the cool water lap around our ankles. The jellyfish drift even closer, and one of them, larger than the rest, pauses just a few feet away, pulsing softly, its light flickering in time with the gentle movement of the waves. You extend a hand, hovering just above the water, and for a moment, it feels as though it recognizes us, its light growing just a little brighter, its movements slowing, as if pausing to see us, to acknowledge our presence. There's a sense of peace that fills the air, a feeling so deep and quiet that it makes everything else fall away. In this moment, we understand that we are part of this world in ways we hadn't realized, that the ocean, the jellyfish, the shore, they aren't just places or creatures. They are part of us, and we are part of them. Time passes, and we stay there, immersed in the gentle rhythm of the water, the soft glow of the jellyfish surrounding us like a constellation. We don't know how long we stand there, but when we finally leave, the sky is dark and the stars are bright, reflecting the same light that we carry within us. As we walk back along the shore, you pause and look up at the sky, at the endless stretch of stars above. Do you think it's all connected? You ask. And in that moment, the answer feels simple, even obvious. We know that it is. The stars, the ocean, the jellyfish, the light. They are all threads in a vast tapestry, woven together in ways we can't see but can feel, deep in our bones. And as we leave the shore, there's a new understanding between us, a sense that we are part of something greater, something beautiful and unending. The ocean, with all its mysteries, has given us a gift, not answers, but an invitation to live in wonder, to see the world with new eyes, to know that we are part of its story, just as it is part of ours. We walk back in silence, each step carrying us farther from the water but closer to each other, to ourselves, and to the quiet light that we now know lives within us. And though we leave the shore behind, we know that it will always be there, waiting. A place where the ocean, the stars, and the jellyfish are forever entwined, calling us back again and again to the endless rhythm of the world. Seasons shift and life continues, but something has changed in us since those nights by the ocean. We feel it in small moments. When sunlight filters through trees, casting dappled shadows, or when we catch the scent of salt on the wind, even miles from the shore. The world seems richer, layered with hints of mystery we hadn't noticed before. And the memory of the jellyfish and the ocean's quiet rhythm hums beneath everything we do. Months pass before we return. Life sweeps us up in its current, with its duties and distractions. But in quiet moments, we still feel the call of the sea, like a thread woven through our days, leading us back. Finally, on a cool, clear night, we find ourselves back on the familiar shore. The air is brisk, and the sky is alive with stars, stretching endlessly over the dark water. We sit on the sand, feeling the familiar pull, the gentle call of the ocean, and we let the silence settle around us. The ocean is calmer than we've ever seen it, its surface so still that it mirrors the sky above, stars reflected in stars, as if we're standing on the edge of an infinite universe. The tide pulls softly at the shore, a slow, steady rhythm, as if breathing. And then, in the stillness, we feel it, a subtle, almost imperceptible shift in the air. The water, dark and mirror-like, begins to shimmer as tiny points of light appear, scattered across the surface like stars fallen from the sky. We watch, breathless, as the bioluminescence returns, spreading out in a glowing net across the water, each wave leaving trails of light that expand and fade. The jellyfish appear gradually, as if rising from the depths of a dream, their bodies glowing softly, each pulse a quiet heartbeat in the dark. They move slowly tonight, drifting in graceful patterns, and we realize that we've come to recognize some of them. The slight variations in size and shape, the subtle differences in their movements. You kneel by the water, reaching a hand out, and the bioluminescence dances around your fingers, swirling in eddies of green and blue. It's a reunion of sorts, a quiet welcome back to this world, where we have learned to listen, to feel, to simply be. We stay like that for a long time, our feet in the cool water, the glow of the ocean wrapping around us, feeling a peace that only this place can bring. After a while, you speak, barely a whisper. Do you think they remember us? It's a strange question, but it feels right. The jellyfish drift closer, their lights flickering softly, and it's as though they do remember us, as if they're greeting us in their quiet, wordless way, recognizing us not as intruders, but as companions in this shared, unspoken journey. The thought stirs something deep within us, a realization that we've been changed, not by answers, but by the mystery itself. The ocean, with its endless cycles, has shown us a part of ourselves we didn't know existed, a part that feels connected to the tides, to the light, to the silent, pulsing presence of these gentle creatures. The night stretches on, and the jellyfish move with us, drifting along the shore, their lights fading and brightening in perfect harmony with the waves. The bioluminescence glows faintly around us, illuminating our footprints in the sand, a trail of light that connects us back to the ocean, back to the stars. When dawn begins to edge its way over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, we know it's time to leave. The jellyfish begin to drift away, returning to the depths, their lights growing fainter, until they're just shadows beneath the surface, part of the ocean once more. We stand together, watching as the last traces of light fade, feeling both the ache of goodbye and the quiet joy of knowing we'll return. This place, this shore, has become a part of us, a hidden world we carry within, a source of light and wonder that guides us even when we're far from the sea. As we walk away, hand in hand, we feel a new kind of certainty. We may be leaving the shore, but the ocean and its mysteries, the jellyfish and their soft, pulsing light, they are with us now, woven into the fabric of who we are. And we know that wherever life may take us, we will always find our way back here, back to the endless rhythm of the world, back to the ocean's quiet song. And as the first light of day touches the shore, we feel a gentle, unspoken promise, an understanding that this place will always welcome us, always hold space for us, just as it holds the jellyfish, the waves, the light. And as we turn toward the road, leaving footprints in the damp sand, we carry that promise with us, a quiet pulse that reminds us always of the wonder that lives within us, and of the ocean that forever calls us home. As we leave the shore, the feeling of that last night by the ocean lingers in everything we do, a quiet presence that colors our days. We find ourselves drawn to water more than ever before, small lakes, streams. Even the sound of rain against windows reminds us of the ocean's rhythm. It's as though a piece of that world has been unlocked within us, something timeless that whispers in quiet moments, calling us back. Months pass, and the memory of the jellyfish, the bioluminescent glow, and the ocean's silent pull becomes a constant thread in our lives, woven into the fabric of who we are. We speak of it less often now, yet both of us feel it. The connection, the belonging, the way it has shaped us. It's a comfort, a quiet reminder that somewhere, beyond the routines of life, there's a place where mystery and beauty flow freely, waiting for us. One night, you suggest a road trip, a spontaneous, open-ended journey along the coast. We leave with no real plan, just a sense of adventure and a deep-seated urge to return to the sea, to follow the edge of the world where land meets water. As we drive, we talk about the ocean, remembering our nights on the shore, laughing at the little things we hadn't thought of in months. And as the miles roll by, our excitement grows, an unspoken certainty building between us that this trip isn't just a journey, it's a return. After days of driving, stopping along beaches and coves, we finally reach a small, secluded stretch of coastline that feels different from the others, almost familiar. The air has the same salty crispness, the waves the same rhythm, and as we step out onto the sand, it feels as though we've come home. The sun begins to set as we make our way to the water's edge, and the colors of dusk spread across the sky, casting everything in a warm golden light. We sit together, feeling the cool sand beneath us, and watch as the horizon darkens, the first stars appearing above us, faint but steady. And then just as the last light fades from the sky, it happens again. The ocean begins to shimmer with bioluminescent light, soft and glowing, spreading out like a silent invitation. We watch, breathless, as tiny points of light begin to pulse just below the surface. And with them, the jellyfish appear, drifting up from the depths, their bodies glowing faintly in the dark water. This time the glow is stronger, more vibrant, filling the shore with a pale, magical light. The jellyfish move closer than ever, surrounding us with their gentle presence, each pulse lighting up the water in ripples that expand and fade, as if the ocean itself is breathing, alive with light and mystery. We wade into the water without hesitation, feeling the cool embrace of the sea as the bioluminescent glow surrounds us. Our movements send waves of light rippling outward, and we're part of it now, immersed in this world we had once only observed. The jellyfish drift around us, their soft, pulsing light like a heartbeat, a rhythm we feel deep within. And standing there surrounded by glowing water, with the stars shining above, we feel something unlock within us, a deep understanding we hadn't known we were seeking. It's as if the ocean, in all its vastness, is showing us that everything is connected, that every light, every pulse, every ripple is part of a greater whole, and that we too are part of that endless dance. You reach for my hand and we stand there together, feeling the quiet power of the moment, the gentle strength of the ocean, the soft glow of the jellyfish, all of it woven together in a tapestry of light and silence. And in that instant, we know that this is what we've been searching for all along, a place where we are both whole and part of something greater, a place where we belong. As the night stretches on, we finally step back from the water, our clothes damp, our skin tingling with the salt and glow of the sea. We sit on the sand, watching as the bioluminescence fades and the jellyfish drift away, leaving us with the stars and the quiet lapping of the waves. We stay like that, leaning against each other, feeling the warmth of the sand, the coolness of the night air, and a sense of peace that runs deeper than anything we've ever known. And as dawn begins to creep over the horizon, casting the first light of day across the water, we know that we'll carry this moment with us, that it will live in us, like the pulse of the ocean, guiding us forward. When we finally leave, there's a feeling between us that we can't quite name, a knowing, a certainty that wherever life may take us, we will always return to the sea, to this place where mystery and wonder come together in a quiet, unending rhythm. And as we walk back up the shore, leaving faint footprints in the sand, we carry with us the light of that night, a gift from the ocean, a reminder of the beauty that lies in simply being part of something infinite and beautiful. And in our hearts, we know that we are not just returning from a journey, but beginning one that will continue, forever intertwined with the ocean's timeless story wherever we go. As we leave that shoreline in the early dawn light, the world feels somehow wider, as though we've crossed an invisible threshold. The ocean's rhythm, the glow of bioluminescence, and the jellyfish. These things have become part of us, stitched into the fabric of who we are and how we move through the world. In the days that follow, we find ourselves changed in quiet ways. There's a patience, a stillness that follows us into everything we do. We take walks in silence, simply listening to the sounds around us, the rustle of leaves, the distant hum of wind. In these moments, we feel echoes of the ocean's vastness, as though its presence reaches out, even here, miles from the shore. One night, you suggest we make something to capture the memory of that ocean light, a piece of the experience we can carry with us. We gather supplies, jars, sand, small stones, and strands of fairy lights that mimic the soft glow of bioluminescence. With care, we fill each jar, layering sand and stones, wrapping the tiny lights around the inside. The glow is faint, just a hint of light, but it's enough to remind us of that night, of the jellyfish drifting close in the water, of the stars reflected in the sea. We keep these jars on our windowsills, their soft glow a quiet presence in the room. a reminder that the ocean's beauty is never far from us. When the night settles in, we switch on the lights, and the room fills with that familiar, soothing glow. It's a small thing, but it brings us comfort, a way to carry that sense of peace and wonder wherever we go. Over time, the jars become more than keepsakes. They're touchstones, reminders to live slowly, to notice the beauty in small things, to be open to the mysteries that surround us. They are a reminder of the ocean's lessons, of the quiet pulsing light that exists in all things. One evening, we meet by the window, watching the glow of our jars as they cast faint shadows across the room. You turn to me, a thoughtful look in your eyes, and say, "I think we should share this." At first, I'm not sure what you mean, but then it dawns on me that maybe others too are seeking this connection, this sense of calm and wonder. Maybe the world needs a reminder of that quiet beauty, of the way light can live even in the deepest parts of the sea. So, we begin to share our story, not with words, but through small acts, through gestures that carry the spirit of what we've found. We gather friends by the shore, leading them to the ocean at dusk, where they too can watch the waves, listen to the night, and feel the gentle pull of the tides. We bring jars to loved ones, each filled with sand and light, each one a quiet invitation to slow down, to listen, to reconnect with the world's quiet magic. Some people understand right away, while others simply enjoy the beauty of it, the simple wonder of light glowing softly in a glass. But we don't mind. We know that not everyone will feel what we feel, that not everyone is drawn to the ocean's call. Yet, there is a quiet joy in sharing, in offering even a glimpse of that feeling, that connection to others. As time passes, our own lives shift and change, but the ocean's influence remains, a steady pulse guiding us through all things. We find ourselves returning to the shore, not just to remember, but to renew, to feel that rhythm again, to remind ourselves that we are part of something endless and beautiful. And on nights when the ocean glows, when the jellyfish drift close, when the world feels vast and timeless, we know that the story continues, not just for us, but for everyone touched by that light, everyone who feels the gentle pull of the sea, everyone who, in some quiet way, becomes part of its endless, beautiful rhythm. And in that knowledge, we feel whole, knowing that this journey with the ocean, with each other, will carry on always bound by light, by mystery, and by love.